Hello, welcome to Dundro's podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we're playing a Konami game while reviewing the new Dune 2021 movie, which is based off the book from the 50s, right? I think his name's Kyle Herbert. I forget. Yeah. So Kevin Street, one of our subscribers and friends of the channel, asked us to review Dune 2021, and I, as a fan of David Lynch's 1984 film, I kind of didn't want to watch this remake because they did the casting for this movie, in my mind, is atrocious. Even with the lead, Frank Herbert, sorry, not Kyle Herbert. I was thinking of the voice actor. I think the casting for this movie is atrocious compared to the first film, right? And this film didn't even adapt the whole book, right? The movie ends right after Paul's duel with one of the Fremen warriors, right before he gets accepted into the Fremen ranks, right? So, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. This movie is directed by Denis Villeneuve, Denis Villeneuve is a very weird director. Because some of his movies are, in my opinion, pretty cool. They're very red-pilled, some would say. And then you have half his movies are cringe and blue-pilled. So it's like, what the fuck is up with Denis Villeneuve, man, and his movies, right? And, he directed movies like, what was it, Night Creatures, the latest Blade Runner movie, and he directed Arrival, which I've yet to see that movie. That movie looks retarded to me, right? Yeah, so the casting for this movie is you got Timothée Chalamet, who is, I'll admit, he's a good actor, but he's very miscast as Paul Atreides. Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Oscar Isaac as Paul Leto Atreides, Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck, who was played by Patrick Stewart in the first film, right? Who did a very good job as playing a bard / warrior. Here, Josh Brolin's very good at playing a badass warrior, but he didn't come off as a bard warrior. You never even see him once with a musical instrument, right? He did carry around the Orange Catholic Bible, which that's one of the religions from the book, right? He did have one in the spin-off books, but I don't remember him being religious in the first book. It was more Dr. Yue who carried around an Orange Catholic Bible and gave it to Paul, right? You have Zendaya Shawnee, who sucks in this movie. Stellan Skarsgård as Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. Harkonnen. They call them Harkonnen in the movie, right? It's pronounced Harkonnen, not Harkonnen, right? You got Stephen McKinley Henderson as Sufar Huat, Chen Chang as Dr. Yui, who did an okay job in the movie. You got David Dastmalchian as Peter Devers, who does not do much in the film. You have Sharon Duncan Brewster as Liet Kynes, Dr. Liet Kynes, who was played by legendary actor, oh fuck, where is he? I have both casts. Vax von Sydow was in the original, right? they race swapped and gender swapped Louis Kleins in the movie, right? Oh my god. Oh my god. You have Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, which despite the fact that he looked a little fat in the face, he was fine in the movie. But it's kind of like, okay, if you read the books, you know, Duncan Idaho is a recurring character in the books. And there's a point in the books where he becomes a mentat, which a mentat is basically like a human computer. The reason they have human computers in the Dune series because there was some Terminator shit where humanity went to war against the machines, and then there was like this crusade where they had to wipe out every sentient machine in the universe, which they made into a book, which I heard sucked. Sorry. You got Javier Bardem as Stilgar, and that's pretty much all the famous people in the movie. You got like one English actress, Charlotte Rampling as Gaius Helen Mophiam, right? Who was a major villain in the book series, right? Or at least in the first two. How the Dune books work is pretty much you have like a protagonist for the first three books, and they kind of there's like a transition period between the previous protagonist to the next protagonist in like the third book, right? And then he becomes the main character in the next three books until there's another protagonist that they set up. That's how the Dune books work. Which I've only read like the first four, right? So I haven't read the Children of Dune, which I think is the fifth one, or have I? I can't remember. I know I read the first four, right? So I'm a huge fan of the Dune series, right? And this movie, it's the thing where I should talk about the story of the movie, right? The story is basically in this universe that's kind of similar to the Warhammer 40k universe, except for there's no aliens, right? You just have political intrigue, where it's basically a political space opera with medieval trappings, right? Which the reason why there's like medieval shit in this series is because there was this invention. They had laser guns called las guns, right? And man, I forgot how to play this game. I'm just hacking and slashing. This game's actually pretty hard. Yeah. What happened is basically they have these body shields, which are supposed to be belts. In the movie, they're worn around the hand, right? Which they're supposed to be shield belts, which that exactly like they are in the Warhammer 40k novels, right? And the reason why once they were invented, you couldn't have guns anymore because the laser guns would hit the body shields and create like a nuclear explosion, right? Which nukes are illegal in the Dune series, right? Yeah. So like that's why there's like this thing in the series where they powerful warrior trying to get an army full of powerful warriors is a huge thing, which is a huge plot of the movie, right? Because what happens is basically the Duke Leto of House Atreides. There's like three main houses in the movie. House Corvino, which is the ruling house that rules the universe, and you have House Atreides, which are the good nobles, and you have like House Harkonnen, which is an evil house. They're very industrialized. Their sigil is like a bull, and that's why you have the thing where the House Atreides are matadors because their enemy is House Harkonnen. who is like, their sigil's the bull, right? And basically what's going on is House Corvino, the ruling house, fears House Atreides because they're in charge of Landsgrad, which is alliance of the houses to rival the power of the Imperium. So the Emperor, who doesn't even talk in the movie, he's in the movie for like one scene, right? Sets a trap for Duke Leto by taking the planet Arrakis from the Harkonnens, which planet Arrakis is basically a metaphor for the Middle East. How the Middle East produces like oil that basically like is the fossil fuel power that pretty much runs everything, all our natural resources and shit or whatever, our industries. The planet Arrakis, also known as Dune, has this thing called the spice melange, which is a powerful drug, but it also allows the Spacing Guild, right? Which the Spacing Guild is also part of the Merchants, which is this race of like people, of fish people who were human once, but after centuries of taking the spice melange, they're mutated into fish people. Which in the first movie, it was like a fish person in a tank. Here, they're just wearing suits and you can't see their face, which I thought sucked. Right? So, yeah. So what's going on is basically by taking the planet from Harkonnens, it gives the Harkonnens a legitimate like grievance to attack House Atreides, right? Right. So that's the plot of the movie, right? Where the House Harkonnen is going to attack and destroy House Atreides, right? While this is going on, you have the main character, who is Paul Atreides, who is an allegory for a certain religious figure, not from Christian religious mythology, by the way. I won't say who, but it's from like another religious, denomination, religion, right? And like he's supposed to be this like savior character who is trained in the ways of the Mentat, which they don't talk about in the movie. Which the whole reason he becomes this godlike character is because he was trained not only in the ways of the Bene Gesserit, which are witches who are in charge of genealogies and preserving the genealogies of the different houses and nobles. They're like Lady Jessica is actually, they don't say this in the movie, but like Lady Jessica is actually the niece of, the daughter, a bastard daughter of Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, right? Which is why Paul Atreides and Thade look so much alike in the books, which Thade, who is the one cool Harkonnen, is not even in the movie, who was played by Sting in the original. So that's one problem I have with the movie. Sting, like the Thade character, who was the coolest Harkonnen in the book, is not even in the fucking movie. That's another problem I have, right? So, yeah, so like the Bene Gesserit are witches because they have this ability to use the voice, which is this technique where they basically, by pitching their voice, they're able to brainwash people into doing whatever they want just by telling them what to do by pitching their voice. It's kind of like the preacher's power from Preacher, or what was the name of that show by Garth Ennis? I think it was called Preacher, right? Seth Rogen made it. I don't fucking know. That show sucked. I mean, it was okay. It was not as good as the book, the comic, which is very blasphemous. And I'm probably going to go to hell for reading it. Sorry, guys. Yeah. So like, yeah, the movie is supposed to be like the fall of House Atreides, but the rise of Paul Atreides, who becomes this, religious leader who takes over who leads the Fremen, right? Who are the desert warriors of Arrakis, who protects the spice and the makers, which are the giant sandworms in the movie, who produce the spice, right? Which I don't know if they mentioned. That was supposed to be a secret, and they kind of mentioned that, we can't get rid of the deserts because we need them, right? Yeah, so like, I don't know, man. The movie, it's the thing where visually the movie is good, and there's a lot of cool action scenes that weren't in the original, but they also changed some shit that makes no sense. Like, there's a scene, right, where the Liet Klein's character, after the Paul and like Duncan, Idaho, and Lady Jessica are attacked by the Sardaukar, which are the elite warriors of House Corino, right? Which are badass in the movie, and I love the throat singing that they do, right? It's very badass, right? It's very badass. Shit. It's very badass, but there's like a scene where they attack Liet Klein's, who's trying to summon, using a thumper to try to summon a sandworm so she can ride out. That's the mode of travel of the Fremen, is they ride the sandworms. What happens is she gets attacked before she can use the thumper, right? Whoa, what the fuck is this shit? I don't know. So tell me to use an axe. What the fuck? How do I cook this shit? Okay, whatever. I haven't played this game. Oh, fuck. Am I equipping it? I don't even know. Oh, whatever. Fuck this game. So, yeah. So, basically, I'll get into positives, right? Visually, the movie is cool, right? The special effects are great. The ornithopters look great. Dave Bautista as Beast Robin Harkonnen was well casted in the movie. Though he was supposed to be dumb and kind of comedic, which so is Baron Vladimir Harkonnen, who's supposed to be comedic. One of the funniest scenes from the book, right, is entirely based on his, like, he's a funny character, right? Here, he's just a fat, he's basically a fat pedophile, right? And like, who's serious all the time. He's not funny like he is in the book. And like, I didn't like how they played up they made him like a P word in the movie. Because in the book, he had a thing for like, yeah, he had a thing for teenage boys, but he was more like a homosexual. He was like a borderline P word, but he wasn't like, they just made him a straight up, imply he's a straight up uh, you know, in the movie, which I was not a fan of that, honestly, right? Because there's like a point in the movie where in the book series where he possesses a character and makes her have sex with all these dudes, which was fucking funny, right? And cucks like Baron, and cucks Duncan Idaho because Duncan Idaho was married to her. And there's a point where, like, in the book where he's like going to Stilgar, hey, I think my wife is uh, possessed by Vladimir Harkonnen. We gotta do the trial, right? And he's like, people are saying that, like, people are saying that she is having affairs. Is this why you want me to do? Like, he was basically accusing him. Oh, do you want me just to kill her because because she's cheating on you? He's like, no, god damn it, she's possessed. That's the thing with the Dune books, is that, yeah, they're serious political space dramas, but there's a lot of there's funny scenes in the books, right? And I forgot to mention my biggest problem with the fucking... How do I quit the fucking thing? Fuck it. Oh my god, won't let me kill this boss unless I quit the fucking thing. I hate this fucking game. Oh my god. Where's the fucking thing? Did I destroy it? Oh, whatever. Whatever. So yeah, so my biggest problem with the movie is they fuck up one of the great lines from the original, where like Gurney Halleck goes to train Paul Atreides and explain how the shield combat works, which they totally fuck up the shield combat in the movie, where the whole point of the shields is so fast objects can't get through. You see the sword fights in the movie, and people are fucking going super fast, stabbing and slashing at each other when they should bounce off the shield, because the whole point of the shield is to stop like objects from going through. Only slow objects can go through the shield, right? Which is like the whole point of the training session, to establish that only the slow blade pierces the shield, right? Which they fuck up the training. So they have the scene setting up how the shield works, but then they fuck it up in the movie, right? When, like, you know, when you had a scene where they explained how the fucking shields work, and they fuck up the funny line from the original book where, like, Paul's like, I'm not in the mood for training today, Gurney. And he's like, mood? Mood is a thing for cattle and love play. Nobles fight when the need arises or whatever, right? So he fucks it up, but they fuck it up in the movie. And also, I forgot to mention my problem with Liet Klein's scene, where like they show up, where she gets killed before she can set up the thumper to summon the sandworm to travel. She gets killed, and then as she's dying, she pounds at the sand to summon a sandworm that shows up out of nowhere and kills the Sardaukar and her. And I know it's supposed to be like, oh, a heroic, like, self-sacrifice death scene, right? But not only was that not in the book, in the universe of the book, in the movie, it makes no sense. What's the point of having equipment like thumpers to summon sandworms when you can just pound on the ground and summon them instantly? That makes no fucking sense, right? So, I know people love this movie, but if you understand how shit in the books and the movie's own universe that establish it, shit does not make sense and they fuck it up, right? But there are cool things about the movie, right? The acting overall is good. The visual effects are good. The cinematography is good. The throat singing scenes with the Sardaukar was awesome, but overall, I thought the movie, they fucked up a lot of things from the books that doesn't make sense in this movie, so I'm only giving it, a 6 out of 10. Fuck it. Mark Herman is a fucking retarded shill. If he was highbrow as he pretended to be, he would have read the fucking book, alright? Yeah, so I'm sorry, Kevin, but it is a decent. It's the thing where if you don't know anything about the books, this movie is probably an 8 out of 10. But even they explain shit, and then they fuck it up in the execution of the. Like, they fucked up the shield fighting scenes in the movie, where they explain that only slow attacks can pierce shields, but you see them fast attacks go for people's shields. Makes no sense. And they have the scene where the chick summons, trying to set up a thumper to summon a sandworm, and then, she's able to summon one instantaneously out of nowhere just by pounding on the ground. Right? That makes no sense. That was just them trying to give, like, a heroic scene for that character, right? Who was played a lot better by Max von Sydow in the original. And whenever I read the book, I would imagine Max von Sydow, which his voice fit perfectly with the character. A lot of miscasting in this fucking film as well. But overall, it's a decent movie, and I would say, it's probably worth it. But this is a long movie. It is 2 hours and 28 minutes, I think. Yeah.